Podcast. 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 Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Racer X Exhaust Podcast, brought to you by Yoshimura. 65 years of four-stroke research and development. At this point, we're getting close to 66. Got new exhaust systems for a variety of machines. That includes Honda's new trail bike line. We've talked about that. The really cool Honda street bikes like the Monkey and the Grom. And, of course, a wide variety of motocross race bikes, not just the Suzukis and Hondas that you see as factory bikes on the track with Yoshimura exhaust, but also Yamahas, Kawasaki's, all the big bike brands too. So go to yoshimura-rd.com. Follow them on social media as well. They are the sponsor of our show. Medcare Network helping us out. What if you're hospitalized with an injury far from home? You'd want to recover close to family and friends. And with an Air Medcare Network Fly You Home membership, you'll have control of where you're treated. You'll be transported to your local hospital of choice with no out-of-pocket cost. Save $10 with the offer code 10MOTO. That's 10MOTO. Visit airmedcarenetwork.com/RacerX offer 1. Those are some of our sponsors. Of course, we just finished up a new issue of RacerX, so go to racerxonline.com/subscribe. The story I just finished was on Straight Rhythm, and we're sending that one to the printer today. But what is absolutely dynamite is our odd couple pairing. We took Trent Lopez, our West Coast advertising guy, and Mitch Kendra, our East Coast website associate editor guy, and we paired them together. These guys have absolutely nothing in common whatsoever. Mitch thought he was there to work and make sure he didn't miss his flights. Trent was there for one reason and one reason only, to party in Vegas. And we said, get in as much trouble as you can. Please go to the race and watch it. But most importantly, get an old school Racer X Vegas road trip story in. So I don't know. I think they got it done. I don't know. But it'll be out in a week or so. Just subscribe now, and you can read it digitally. The turnaround's really quick if you subscribe digitally. racerxonline.com/subscribe. Hey, this week's episode, got an interview with Marvin Musquin that I did at that KTM Media intro a week ago around the whole presentation that I hosted with all the riders and teams last week, but I also grabbed Musquin for about 20 minutes to just get an update on him and even his background, which I don't think is a story that has been told much. And always good to talk to one of the nicest guys in the sport. We'll get to that. Couple things that we need to talk about here, though. First of all, Monster Energy Cup. I know it's kind of the cool thing to bum on some of these off-season races, especially this one. I don't know why. I think it's actually, this is a weird thing. This is produced by Feld, who, of course, they're the producers, the promoters of Monster Energy Supercross. So I think they're always, and I've seen it with the MX Sports, the Coombs side as well. When you're the big dog, when you're the Walmart, it's always fun for people to take shots at you. So when a little upstart is starting an off-season race and a couple riders show up, people are like, oh, that's cool. At least they got those guys to do it. When Feld holds a race and they don't get all the talent, it's like, oh, dude, those guys, they must be so mad. They must be so mad. So, yeah, they didn't have an awesome turnout as far as the superstar riders at Monster Energy Cup this year. Roczen didn't race. Musquin didn't race. Cooper Webb didn't race. Jason Anderson didn't race. Kind of you name it. Didn't race. By the way, this is not an energy drink conspiracy theory, people, okay? Because Musquin's raced this event many times and won it. Dungey raced it all the time. Roczen's raced this event and won it. The promotional poster, the ad in the magazine that they have for Monster Energy Supercross this year, the front and center guy is Cooper Webb. They have him flanked by Roczen and Tomac, who you could argue are the two biggest stars. But they put the champion, Red Bull logos all over it, right in the center of the ad, the poster, the website. I don't believe there's any conspiracy theory. These guys just literally, as you'll learn from Marvin here in this interview, weren't in position to do it. I'll even run it down. I think Osborne and Anderson thought that they could maybe come back after a month of donations and just be ready to go. I think now they know how much that took out of them. They needed a break. Cooper Webb could have shown up not super well prepared. That was fine last year when he finished 12th overall in the race. But at that point, Cooper Webb, no one was even really thinking of him as one of the top Supercross dudes. Now he'd be coming in as defending champ. You know it, you know it, you know it. If Cooper Webb raced Monster Energy Cup over the weekend and got 5th and got beat super bad by Tomac and Cianciarulo, the amount of shit talk from people would have been massive. It would have. Now, maybe it's on Cooper to not care about that, but he doesn't have to race this race, so I believe that's why he didn't race, because he knew that the chances of him looking really good were very remote. He missed 6 weeks with a knee injury from Unadilla. He wasn't awesome at straight rhythm. That doesn't really count for nearly as much. It's on 2 strokes. There aren't any turns. We should always temper our expectations based on anything from Monster Cup or any off-season race, but it's just too difficult. We are savages for information in the off-season desert. So, look, if Webb went there and didn't do well, people would have been like, what's up? Oh, paper champ, not that good. Well, if you think about it, last year, maybe he wasn't even the fastest guy. He just got lucky. Tomac could have done this. AC's coming after his lunch. All this. That would have happened if he didn't do well. So that's why he didn't race. I am positive that's why. It was not an energy drink conspiracy theory. And Roczen, it's well documented the physical issues that he's been dealing with. He did race straight rhythm. That does not tax anyone physically. I don't think he really wanted to be grinding laps, testing, riding at all. He told me it starts right about now. He said it was 2 weeks after straight rhythm that he's really going to start getting into it. That would have been right when Monster Cup was beginning. I think he's really trying to avoid that type of stress on his body right now. So drop the conspiracy theories. Yes, that means that most of the top riders in the sport were not there. So it was Eli Tomac with $1 million on the line, not facing a whole ton of competition, so we thought. But then that feisty rookie, Adam Cianciarulo, man, he was good. He was better than I thought. There are different levels of prep for the riders coming into this race. That is why you have to be very careful when you think about the results. You know who else was really good at this race last year? Joey Savacci was. But Savacci got on the Cowie 450 to try to begin the acclimation process. He got on the bike immediately last year after Ironman National. And he was riding it all the way through Monster Cup. So he had 5 or 6 weeks on the bike. I don't think he was in the full boot camp training method level, but he had ridden it. Same thing with Cianciarulo. He had been riding. It wasn't the full boot camp, but he had been riding the bike. Mathis heard from Kawasaki that Kawasaki ordered Tomac to just stay off the bike for an entire month because he had had a long season, and they know he's got plenty of time to get ready for Anaheim. So already right there, you're looking at varied level of prep between Cianciarulo, who needed to get on the 450 early, and Tomac, who did not. So you got to be careful. Cianciarulo was good. Heck, I know that Savacci was going to beat Tomac in the last race last year, except that he pulled over. But Tomac was going faster. He just started way back and had to try to catch him. Tomac might have been a little faster. He caught AC from a little ways this time, but the gap wasn't as big. And credit to Adam, the last 2 laps, they alternated when they took the Joker lane. Tomac had every opportunity. He had that 1 lap. He basically had to make up a bike length and a half on him in that 1 lap, and he didn't do it. They came out exactly after those 2 laps where they started. So AC matched him. That was big. But having said all that, the AC fever, man, the AC fever is high. We need to turn down the AC. We need to turn down the AC. I don't think it's even fair to him, the expectations that are being thrown on. People love Adam Cianciarulo. They do. It gets very difficult to not get caught up in this hype. We knew how good he was supposed to be. We know how cool he is, how fun he is, how friendly he is. People want to see him succeed. And then when he wasn't going to succeed, when he was hurt for a long, long time in the 250s, I think that made it even more tantalizing. Like, oh man, imagine if AC was good again. It's kind of like Travis Pastrana got hurt all the time, and everyone dreamed of, oh, what would it be like if Travis could get back and get healthy and get back in the mix? That never happened. He never got healthy enough. Adam actually has. So I think, it's really hard. He's magnetic. It's really hard for people to resist his personality. And now that you have a result like this, it's really hard for people to avoid the hype. So I'm just going to remind everyone again, Adam is cool. Adam is awesome. Adam is a good rider. He's clearly in a good place. He is a rookie. I can never overstate how important the difference between rookies and riders with 3 years of experience going into their 3rd year in the class is. Now, I know you're all going to bring up, well, Jeremy McGrath won the title as a rookie. Well, Ryan Dungey won the title as a rookie. Congratulations. 2 times in 45 years? 2 times in 45 years, rookies have won the title. Most rookies pretty much suck. They don't even make it through all 17 races without getting hurt. Ricky Carmichael, the greatest of all time, got hurt immediately in his rookie year, then came back, got hurt over and over and over and over. He was better his second year. He was dynamite his third year. How did Cooper Webb's rookie season go? How did Aaron Plessinger's rookie season go? Everybody was super hyped up on Justin Barcia. He won Monster Cup heading into his rookie season. He won the second race of the 450 season his rookie year. Everyone was all hyped up, and he got hurt in the third race. It just happens, man. It just happens. Just getting through the rounds is the key for Adam. Yes, it's possible that all the stars could align, but I think everyone is getting way ahead of themselves. Who's going to be Cowie's main guy? One of my buddies was like, oh, man, is Adam going to be able to say something back? Because remember, Cooper Webb said that the difference in Vegas is that Adam cracked and I didn't. Dude, Cooper Webb is the 450 Supercross champ. You cannot talk crap on that. And I don't think Adam will, but I'm just saying, they're not equals yet. Maybe in a year or two, it might be saying, dude, there's a legit rivalry. Or maybe we're even saying Adam's going faster. Or maybe Adam has the titles at that point. But as of right now, everybody's got to cool their jets on the Adam Cianciarulo hype. It would be awesome, spectacular, great, magnetic, fun if he were in the hunt all year. But that doesn't mean it's guaranteed that it's going to happen. You've got to be careful with these rookies, dude. It generally goes badly. Oh, James Stewart. Oh, dude, the James Stewart hype. You cannot match the level of hype there was for James Stewart to finally get on big bikes. Guess what? The first race of the year was a mud race. Second race of the year was dry. We were finally going to see what he had. He got hurt in practice at round 2. Just remember those things if you want to counter with your McGrath and Dungey rookie argument. But Adam was awesome at Monster Cup. Can't take that away from him. Other news, Phil Nicoletti has won $100,000 Canadian, which is $76,000 American. That's bad news, Phil. Luck in Canada. I hung out with Phil a lot this week. I think we invented a new hangout group, #Team Wrecked. Not nearly as prolific or proficient as Team Fried, but we had a fun week celebrating. Good for him. I know it wasn't the biggest story of the year, but the most hilarious, crazy, I cannot believe this all worked out the way it did story was Phil threatening Mike Alessi's life during a Canadian Motocross National this year. I mean, how many times have we said we're probably not going to have any more controversy involving Mike Alessi anymore? And it still happens. And for it to happen with our guy Phil, known for the throat slit gesture, it just couldn't have been better. That's my favorite, most hilarious story of the year. Not the biggest, but that's my personal number one. So thanks for the gifts, Phil. And even the Alessis. It's a gift that keeps on giving. We always think Travis Pastrana has done his last crazy thing on a motorcycle, and then he's backflipping at 500 at straight rhythm. We always think we've had our last Mike Alessi controversy, and then we had another. And in final news, I stopped by the Joe Gibbs Racing Suzuki shop this week to see if they're actually operating. And what the heck, I will give you the audio of that video at the end of this. But I promised you Marvin Musquin, and now I'm going to give you Marvin Musquin. Quick reminder, Marvin, oh, the poor guy, is battling for second in points with Roczen going into the final round of the season at Ironman. And the first moto there was one of the best motos ever. It was underrated because the title was already wrapped up by Tomac, but we had Roczen, Tomac, and Musquin going back and forth, passing each other back and forth the whole way. And Musquin actually caught and passed both to win the moto. It might have been Marvin's best performance ever, but we won't remember that because an hour later, he crashed in, or got crashed, not taken out, but he came together in turn 2 with his buddy Zach Osborne, twisted his knee, got hurt, and to add insult to that injury, yes, there was a pretty good bonus on the line, Roczen versus Marvin with their teams, who got second in the series, and that cost Marvin second in points. So that really hurt in more ways than one, and he's still recovering. That's why he didn't race Monster Cup or Straight Rhythm. He's not doing Paris, which he normally does as a Frenchman. But the goal is to be better coming into Anaheim. I talked to Marvin before Anaheim last year, and he and his mechanic, Frankie, said on Christmas Day they were hanging out, and they didn't know if he'd be able to ride Anaheim 1. So he's hoping to at least be ahead of that. So here's Marvin Musquin. So what has this offseason actually been like for you? Like, you were in France a bit, right?
Yeah, well, pretty much the same as before, as September is off. Right before Indiana, we were off for a month, and unfortunately that was not the vacation and that I was looking for, because treating the knee as a little tweak. But anyway, it's the way it is, and made the most, out of it, and we got married. I want to say once again with Mathilde, but we had
this was like a wedding.
It was a ceremony wedding,
okay.
exactly. Right. Yeah, me and Mathilde been married since 2012, so we're super excited and super happy. Everything went great, so we had a great time with friends and family.
You weren't limping down the aisle?
No, I was doing okay. Yeah, I was doing great. It's funny because my surgeon that is really close to me and Mathilde now he's like a friend. He was there, and my physio was there, so it's funny because Ian or Aldon or Doug G, they were able to talk to my surgeon at the wedding, so it's pretty funny.
Oh, because they all went. They all went.
Yeah, everybody was there.
That's hilarious. So you didn't need surgery or not?
No.
Okay.
No, it was definitely, but it was a bad strain on the knee, and but yeah, definitely looking forward to get back on the bike. Time off is good, but at one point, I love what I do, and but that's why off seasons or breaks are for. It's to make you realize, okay, you need a break. Your body, your mind need a break, but all you do in the season, in the routine, it's all you know to do and what you love.
So when are you going to ride again? Do you know yet?
No, I'm not sure yet. I'll take a couple more weeks. I need some time and make sure I'm strong on the knee. Knees are very tough to deal with, and so I don't want to. Yeah, so I don't want to go out there and not be 100%. I want to be strong on my legs.
So could you, this is like a decision to not rush it? You maybe could get back on the bike, but you're trying to do it
well,
way.
It also took me a while to heal and have no pain, and it's still there. So, I definitely need time, and it's quite I would say, a decent off-season, a long off-season, but it goes by pretty quick,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, when you see the situation I was in last year, it was it couldn't have been worse. So, looking for a better off-season and a better start of the season.
Yeah, this is funny. So you're right now not riding, but at the same time you think this will end up being a better situation that you're dealing with last year. That's not how last year was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dealing with the knee only a couple days before A1 was not ideal.
Yeah, because I remember you and Frankie told the story Christmas Day, not knowing if you were even going to race 2 weeks before Anaheim.
Yeah, I actually started riding on the 26th of December, so the next day after Christmas, we give it a go and see how I felt. And besides that, trying to do everything I could with the rehab and therapy and also cardio, because when you're not on the bike, it's hard.
Yeah, can you do stuff, or does the knee also mean no cycling, or you can do?
It depends what you have, but fortunately I was able to cycle a little bit.
Okay. You did have a little break, but look, we've always heard this Aldon program's so gnarly. It's so gnarly. You've been, this is what, year 5? I think, something like that?
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 5th season, and now I'm going to in the 6th season.
Right. Okay, so everybody says, dude, it's so gnarly, guys can't handle it.
It is, dude.
You're so burned?
No. But I'm also a badass that I can do it.
Oh, there you go. I like that. So how are you?
No, it's just very. I want to say strict, but we follow the program and we have a strong program, and it's about quality. I feel about besides quantity, and I've been doing good, and it's been good to me. So we'll keep following Aldon's program.
Yeah. So at no point are you dude, I can't do this anymore.
No.
Well, that's good proof, because you and I'd say Jason are probably about as long into it as anybody has been at this point.
Same actually. Right. Me and Jason. Yeah.
Right, and I think some people would have thought, dude, 4 or 5 years is all you can handle, but you feel just as good now.
Yeah, but I think it's also the situation. That you're in, or like a Ryan Dungey. He was at the very top for so many years. I think it was more about maybe the pressure or the stress of being that number one. That it must be very, very hard every single year. And I've never been in that position, even though I've been, leading the championship maybe at one point in some years, but and battling for the championship, but never at the very top step. And also it's also besides racing, how you living too.
The
I feel obligations, but also the way you approach the racing, I think, and your mentality and the culture, I think too.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because, yes, people always look at Villopoto, look at Dunge. They only lasted like 4 years or 5 years in it. And I'm like, yeah, but they were also winning the title every year, which is an immense amount of pressure that most riders don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's not just how many bicycle miles they did during the week. Like, they couldn't, not like you want to have bad races, but dude, if Villopoto got second one week, people were like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also, it must have been really hard, for Ryan Dungey, when you have a guy like me, but then you have also Jason and young guys, younger guys than him, coming up and beating him at the practice track.
Yeah.
But he was very strong at the race.
I see.
But it's a mix of all that stuff that makes you, mentally it's very tough. So I'm pretty sure I never been in that position,
right.
and it's tough to get bit, when you're the number one.
Yeah, so you're in a little bit different situation. You can't just look at the years or even your age, bro. I don't even want to go there right now.
Yeah, we can.
How old are you now?
29.
Right. Are you going to turn 30 during the season?
Yeah.
You will be 30.
30th of December.
You'll be 30 before Anaheim.
Yeah,
right.
On the 30th.
Okay. Does it make any difference as far as you can tell?
Well, we'll see. Maybe when the number comes out, it will be like, holy shit.
But drop.
Yeah, but
15th at Anaheim.
But right now, I've for some reason, because we kind of talk about age, I feel like I've been there already. Like to 30 years old, kind of. Even if I'm 29, you know what I'm saying?
You were already thought of as being older.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already like there.
Yes, I agree.
But at the end, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe when it comes up, I'll be like, oh, there we go. I am really 30, but I just go with it and see how I feel. Physically and mentally, it's all about the body, not about the number.
Well, physical science says that sometimes 30 is even better than 25 for cardio type stuff. So it's almost more of like that pressure you're saying, the mental side. Are you burned out? And obviously injuries start to pile up. But I don't think age 30 means you can't do this stuff, as long as all the other things don't get you.
No, for sure, even though Supercross, Motocross is a very tough sport.
Yeah.
But at this point, at this age, you have a really strong base, cardio and physically.
Yep.
Then it's more about like body-wise, muscles or bones or ligaments and stuff that it's coming maybe to hurt you at one point. Mm-hmm. But and also I've had like a little problem with knees, but I've always been able to overcome that and make it work and get stronger again.
And you signed a multi-year. They said through 2021.
2 years, yes.
So you're not planning on testing it out this year. Like
No.
You're in for the long haul.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, at least 2 years. That's it. Yeah, that's how I've been going. Signing a 2-year deal is awesome, and you know that you're going for 2 years, and that's what I wanted to do once again. Mm-hmm. Then we'll see.
When you were, and part of the reason that maybe you're older is you had a long path to get here. You raced in Europe for a long time. You won titles in Europe. That takes time. Was this always your goal? Like, were you always like, I want to go to America, or in 2009-ish, were you just trying to make your way anywhere you could?
Yeah, that was it. Obviously, when I was struggling my very first year and a half in Europe with a private team, it's not that you don't think about America, but you're in a tough situation. But as a kid, for sure, I always wanted to be here and race Supercross. That's it. So the opportunity came right after I won my second championship, and KTM wanted to step it up in America, and I was right there at the time. So it was a perfect timing. Yeah. And I could have not dream about different situation.
So you did on TV and stuff watch the Supercross races when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're on TV there? I don't even know how that works.
I don't know. I mean,
I was
I was watching anything I could. I want to say
pre-internet.
I want to say DVDs, but I don't think we had DVDs. We had a
VHS?
Yes, VHS.
VHS. Yes.
So no, I don't remember exactly, but for sure I was watching, magazines and anything I could. Obviously, I was going to Bercy Supercross and trying to talk to David Villemain or Jeremy McGrath and Ezra Lusk, Kevin Windham at the time. All I wanted to do is exactly what DV or Sebastian Totelli or Pichon did.
What was that like? So you were a young racer going up to them. Were these guys cool, or were they just like, I don't know, some fan? Or did you have some connection with them back then? at all, or were you just another guy getting autographs?
Yeah, I have a little story with DV. You know, I was in the pits in Bercy, and my mom and my mom always had, you know, pictures of me, you know, riding, and we had our own track. I mean, that was huge, you know, back in the day. I had a Supercross track, and I was and I was 10 years old, riding a 65. So we wanted to show DV those pictures, you know. Hey, I have a Supercross track, and I showed DV a picture, and DV goes, dude, your drums are little, you know, like, and I'm like, holy shit.
He made fun of yours.
Yeah, that was his first comment about my pictures, and also I was riding my brother's 125, and I was so little, and DV's dad looked at the picture and he says, man, you guys are crazy. And so I was like,
well, at least now we know where DV gets it from.
Yeah, for sure. But DV was really cool. I mean, that great story was, I asked him for his jersey, and he says, okay, I give you my jersey, but you give me yours. So, and we did, and I put it on, and he put on my jersey, and I was 10 years old. So I don't know how he put it on, but he did. So that was amazing.
So he was actually cool. He was cool.
Yeah, he was super cool. Yeah. My mom was probably really annoying to him because, you know, she really wanted me to be happy and to talk to DV. So he probably remember more about my mom being annoying and be there in the pits than me. But no, it was cool.
Are you still working with him to a degree, or how's that go? Like, you were working with him a little bit last year.
Not sure yet, but
well, you're not even riding.
No, that's it. So we're not there yet.
But it had to be. Are there times where you look at it, it's like, I cannot believe this. I'm working with David Villemin. I'm friends with David Villemin. I know David Villemin. That has to be crazy, knowing where you were at 10 years old.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure. But also, you know, DV, you know, since he retired, you know, he was, you know, trying to help, you know, riders and stuff. But I feel like he got better in that job, you know.
I see.
And since a couple of years, I've seen him doing, you know, great job with Dylan Ferrandis, and I really liked how his approach to the sport and the technique and the lines and stuff. So that's why I wanted to have him sometimes, you know, at the practice track. So we'll see if we can do that next year again.
Okay. There was this book that you guys gave me like 2 years ago. I think it was like a French photographer. You guys gave it to me in Vegas, and it was a book about riding styles and technique. And they used you as an example in this book. And one of the things you had said in there was like, look, I'm not the biggest guy. I have to use technique. I can't just hammer through sections. So a lot of these things you do, these are things you've developed. This is not just the way you ride, but you always looked at it analytically, riding style and things like that, or has it just all come to you?
It was kind of natural, but also, you know, when you're a kid, and even these days now, you know, you watch videos and any kind of sports, you know, like cycle, I mean BMX or whatever, you want to do the same things as the guys that you look up to. So that's exactly what I was doing, you know, and that's why I try to do a heel clicker. I mean, I was on I was on 85, and DV was doing heel clickers every time. So I started, you know, doing heel clicker with only one leg. I was putting one leg over the handlebar at first, and then I tried both legs, and I was doing heel clickers since I was on 85. So just things like that, you know. We're not talking about riding technique, but more about like a trick, but also all the technique, you know. You naturally you trying to copy it, you know. And when I was growing up, me and my brother, the riding was all about having fun and trying new things, new jumps, doing transfer on the track, going backwards, you know what I'm saying? So that's how you learn. And you know, these days, maybe when you see kids like really, really young, and they try to have, I know they want to be strong physically, have a program, but when they're a kid, it's all about the technique, I think. Yeah. You have to learn that when you're super young, and you have to have fun, and that's how the technique comes.
Right. So just trying stuff. Yeah. You didn't maybe have a plan of like, I'm going to do this, and when I do this, I'm going to hold my elbows like this. You were just doing it, and it kind of worked.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think when you come to a Supercross track, and I think like a kid like Brian, and you can't really go to a full Supercross track when you don't have experience and try to do 5 laps in a row or 10 laps in a row like the second day. I feel like you have to pick a section, work on it, stuff like that. So I think it's a better way to learn, you know.
Literally do it jump by jump.
Yeah.
And today I'm just going to do whoops or something.
And why not? You know.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't do a rhythm and you're trying to do the full lap, you're gonna lose time in that section.
Or you might get hurt.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like no one rides like you. I haven't seen. It's amazing all these guys that have come through and all these guys that have been fast. That there's still people inventing new ways. I don't feel like your riding style reminds me of anyone. Do you think it's unique, or do you see certain things that you do that you did take from other riders?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I've lost a little bit of that riding style a little bit. Yeah, with the time. I don't know if it's because of the 450 and maybe before on the 250 I was moving on the bike more and now a 450 has more power. But yeah, it's hard to talk about yourself like that. Like technique and riding style.
Well, Villemin was the same way. Like, dude, in '99, it was crazy how he rode. And then you go 4 or 5 years after that, a lot of that was gone. Yeah. So maybe that's just what happens through the years. Maybe it's wasted effort or something, and you realize that.
Yeah, well, when you look at Dylan, he looks like DB a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little more the same.
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
your own deal.
Yeah.
What I do feel you've done better, we used to make the joke that you were good, but the hanging it out and just letting it fly part wasn't your thing. But I feel like you've gotten better at that. Like, when you're hammering, it's like, no, man, he is on the edge. I feel like you flirt with the edge more than maybe you did in your younger days. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, for sure a little bit. Yeah, I think because also the level has been higher too, and obviously you have to push a little harder than.
Yeah, we're talking 450s now.
Yeah, but also when I moved to America too, like in GPs, I was using more technique than here. I feel like it was the riding style of all the riders were a little bit more aggressive, so I had to change that a little bit.
Over there, they were more aggressive.
Not here in the years they saw. That's I feel like that.
Gotcha. Okay, so you don't even know when you're back on a bike, but you do know this.
Yeah.
You should be better January this year than last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're not there yet, but I'll let you know pretty soon, in 2 months.
Okay, and you're not burnt out, you're not too old.
No.
Or maybe you are, we don't know. We don't know. All right. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Dude, is Marvin not the coolest? He's the coolest. Now, look, he did go through a little bit of heat. I forgot to ask. Darn it, I forgot. I've been meaning now in the aftermath, now that it's in the rearview mirror, I'm going to do it. Next time I see Marvin, I got to remember to ask him about that Tomac incident in Foxborough. It was a year and a half ago now, so it slipped my mind during this interview. For the most part, Marvin has been loved by the fans in the United States, which just goes to show you fans are not biased. It's pretty much like this. If you're a French rider, if you're cool, they like you. If you're not cool, they don't. Also, if you're an American rider, if they're cool, they like you. And if you're not cool, they don't. Don't blame the French thing, everybody. Now, the one difference, I will say, if you get a little out of line, that's when people start showing their biases. There are other much more intrinsic biases that people show. We're not getting into this. This is not a political show. But yes, I think Marvin got a little less rope on that Foxborough incident. You might think that it was stupid that he did the move, or they didn't own it with Tomac, whatever. That could be all true, but I do feel like there was maybe 20% extra heat or extra booze or extra ripping on him because of the French thing. He continued to be the regular super nice guy, Marvin, since then, and I think people have forgotten about that. How about Tomac, by the way, never, ever going for revenge? He has battled Marvin for a year and a half since. He never did the revenge thing. And we all assumed that Marvin was going to be cut in half at the very next race when they lined up. Tomac didn't do it. So I don't know. That's either Tomac needs to be more of an enforcer out there, or good on him for not getting caught up in that stuff. Either way you want to look at it. But either way, besides that incident, Marvin has been super nice, super cool, and I think loved and respected by the fans for the most part. I don't know if he's anyone's favorite rider, but I think most fans, if you said, hey, what do you think of Marvin? They'd say, seems cool. Seems like a good dude. And he is. He's really funny in there, too. Maybe the reason he can handle the Aldon program is because he's so badass. That's hilarious. Now, one other thing to talk about when it comes to KTM, Marvin is now going to be 30. Maybe that'll affect him. Maybe it won't. He's no longer fans say this all the time. He's not the number one guy at KTM. There is no number one guy. There is no number one guy. The teams give both riders the same thing. They want both to win. They will give them the best possible effort they can and may the best man win. Too often riders get hurt. You cannot make any sort of plan to say, well, we're putting all the eggs in this dude's basket and not the other. There is no such thing as number one guy. I cannot tell you the painstaking efforts that teams go through to make sure that there's not a number one guy. And KTM, geez, these two guys even ride and train together. They're probably on the same flights half the time. There's no number one guy. Cooper has the number one plate. They're giving Marvin the same level of focus and commitment. And by the way, if you think that, yeah, maybe they treat them differently, no. The teams are going to treat the rider in the way that they think will motivate them to get the best results. Now, if Marvin's the kind of guy that would ride better if they were yelling at him all the time for getting beat by Cooper, then they would give him that. If Marvin's the kind of guy that reacts to positive, they would give him that. Teams don't work that way. They don't because, dude, you're one torn ACL away from losing the so-called number one guy. We didn't really have problems, Team Dunge and Marv. Marv had every reason to be pissed when Cooper came on board. That didn't even happen either. So just the expectations there's going to be drama between the teammates or the Baker's factory guys. Dude, we have like all this proof it doesn't happen. Rookies winning Supercross titles, rare. Drama between teammates and training partners, that's rare. Now, I will tell you where there is some drama. My buddies down the road at Joe Gibbs Racing, Yoshimura Suzuki Factory Racing. They've been struggling because they do not have a title sponsor. They didn't have one since the end of last year when Auto Trader said they would not return to the team. They've not been able to secure one. That was making life tough, but they raced throughout the 2019 season. They had a full team of 450 and 250 riders. The squeeze came after Ironman National when they were told by Suzuki that Suzuki was going to try to cut their funding. Suzuki, it is still a factory team. Suzuki does give them a lot of money and resources and support, and Suzuki wanted to cut back. Now, JGR has said they have a contract, so they're trying to negotiate. Maybe they'll get all of Suzuki's money back, but it is made for a very tense off-season. Now, that's potentially behind closed doors, but those doors opened up as soon as Chad Reed raced Monster Energy Cup and was not on a JGR Suzuki, which is the bike he raced when we last saw him in Supercross. So now everybody's wondering. I've been talking to J-Bone throughout this whole process. He just says, we don't know. I think at the very beginning of September, it was looking really bad. And then each time I talk to him, he says it's looking better. It's no secret, folks, that Joey Savacci is the match for the team. If they had the money, they would sign him now. They haven't made any deals with anyone. They have Alex Martin under contract because there's a 2-year deal. But otherwise, they don't have any other riders. They're not going to be doing these off-season races like Monster Cup. So everyone's just kind of wondering. So I just figured, what the heck? J-Bone is honest to a fault. What if I just stop by their shop and ask them some questions? And, oh, by the way, will we actually see workers working? Or are they shut down because they don't have a sponsor and they don't have as much Suzuki help? Now, I posted this video on our YouTube channel, but if you're in the car and you're not going to watch video, I highly recommend you listen, not watch. As a bonus, here it is. Here's some words from J-Bone.
What's up?
Oh, what's up?
How you doing?
You guys are here?
Yeah.
There was an open sign on the door.
Yeah, we're open.
You're working.
We are working.
There's employees. Team's going. All
check it
right,
out.
let's check it out. This is J-Bone, the team manager, in case you didn't know.
we're,
We already saw Budman and Mitchell upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
All right, there's work actually happening here.
You just
What's up,
randomly
Wes?
pop in here, huh?
What's up, Jared? Renee, Leroy. So the team is operating. You are working.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Mhm.
We just, normal thing, working on sponsors. We usually do this till, always takes longer than we think. Normally we are getting ready for a photo shoot early December and stuff's changing all the way up to that point.
Okay.
It's definitely a little slower than normal. We don't have as many riders signed as usual. We still have Alex signed for next year, but he's the only guy signed, so really that's...
He has a 2-year deal.
He was
2-year deal.
yeah,
It's
so-
good. You didn't tell him to go search the classified ads.
No,
Start looking
we're
for another.
Yeah, we are no longer going to do 2 trucks though.
Okay.
We are switching that up. So there's, we're downsizing for sure. Just trying to do what actually makes sense for all of us here. So that's what we're working on right now, but we haven't been able to move forward with riders. That's really what the main holdup is. I would say.
But there is an attempt. Like you're
Yeah,
trying to move the ball
yeah.
forward and get this done.
Yeah, we've been testing riding. We did a Pirelli test a week ago for Supercross.
A test?
Yeah.
Doing tests?
Yeah, we're testing and riding and
Okay.
yeah, doing the best we can to be ready. That's what we try to do every year. I mean, we've been late other years, even signing riders. It's always later than I want.
Yes.
It used to be you could start pretty early, but it's every year. Honestly, every year it gets a little worse. I wish it didn't. I always think, oh, next year will be easier. It's never easier.
Okay, but here's the thing. See, this is still Auto Trader's gone. We have not replaced it with anything else.
We haven't done that. Yeah, that's what we've been working on for a while, and
there are irons in the fire.
There's irons in the fire. It just takes a long time. I wish it was quick, and I wish it was easy. It's tough. Our sport. You got to be a fan of it. As as much as we think it's big, it is big, but it's not. Not everyone knows it. So
no, it's not mainstream.
We do have interest. There is things that we're working on. It's just it's urgent. It's urgent to us, but it's not urgent to anyone else. They're still going to work. Just like we're here, people think the riders probably think we're not urgent. I'm urgent. I just can't do it. So there's people in my position somewhere else that can't pull the trigger on sponsoring our team because it's just not the right time.
Right, and then you get all these people banging on you saying, "What's the latest? What's the latest?"
Yeah,
and you don't have any.
Like I have so many
answers.
people that they tag me in posts. Come on.
Oh, like that's gonna.
I'm not the one that is doing this. I'm doing the best I can. That's all I can do. All these people mad that we couldn't help Reed. I helped Reed the best I could last year when we had nothing. I was honest the whole time. We worked together.
Yep.
We were able to go racing. So far, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
We could have went to, Monster Cup and done some other stuff. I just can't commit any further yet because I don't have everything situated. And hopefully we get it situated, but I couldn't. He needed to move on because he had these races and
that he had to do. Yeah.
And I think he wanted to do his own thing, so it's okay.
Okay. Yeah. You didn't leave Chad Reed in the dust. You just can't really do anything right now. Yeah.
On bad terms, like everything's. It's what he needed to do, and I'm still doing the best we can what we need to do. So, yeah.
All right. So there are bikes here.
Yes.
Mechanics are working. Can you say who some of the riders you've had testing for you are? Obviously, Alex Martin. He's got a multi-year deal.
Alex was here.
Okay. This bike is blank. I don't see any numbers on it.
Yep, no numbers.
There's no numbers on this bike.
Yeah, we have plans that we'd like to do, but they aren't done yet, so really.
Right.
You'll know the news when there's news.
So you've had riders come up and be like, "Hey, I know you don't have an offer yet, but I'll at least try the bike or test."
The whole time.
Yeah.
And that's probably why, there's stuff out there, but it is late, I have to admit.
Yes.
Later than we all would like, but it's the way it is. I would like to say it could be different, but I'm doing the best I can.
Is there a chance that nothing happens? Like you can't even go racing anymore? Or do you think you can pull it together? Everybody in the shop suddenly like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
What?
I would have to think we could pull it together, but
okay.
I can't guarantee anything.
So is it really like you just have a bunch of different scenarios, like Suzuki comes in or a big sponsor comes in, or if that doesn't happen, we do this? Is it like there's just different paths?
Yeah, it's all what you can do. The cool thing about us is Coy is not doing it for the money.
Okay.
So,
okay.
If he was, we'd have been done a long time ago.
Okay.
So whatever we bring in, we can spend. So whatever we have, we can spend on riders.
I see.
Until we know the number, you can't figure out what we're doing yet.
But you could adjust. If it's a lower number, you can go racing that way. If it's a bigger number, you go racing that way.
So we have to wait till we know. Obviously, Suzuki's a big piece, so we're waiting to finish that, and then we have a couple other irons in the fire. Hopefully something happens. If not, then we'll look at it all and do the best we can what we got. But the plan is to go racing. It's not to not.
Yeah.
But it is a sport that, Coy loves it, but how much do you love it? That's the thing. Like, I want him to love it and pay us all to do this, but it needs to make sense for everyone.
Right. It's not supposed to be just charity.
Yeah, it needs to make sense for Suzuki. It needs to make sense for every sponsor we have. So, Pirelli came here. All of us are planning to go do what we've been doing. Like, it's just been harder. And really, the Monster Cup, we used to not ever do when it was the U.S. Open, we never did it.
I think you didn't even do Monster Cup several times.
Yeah, we didn't do it. We don't do it. There's times we don't do it.
Yes.
But Toyota became a sponsor. That's when we started doing it.
Right.
And then we almost didn't do it last year, but Reed actually wanted to do it.
Right.
So we went with Reed.
Yep.
He wasn't even on the team at that point. Really.
You had no contract.
Well, yeah, even when we rode the last national, it was like, hey, you want to ride our bike? So
right.
we did that deal.
Right.
And we let him test until we had something. Then I said, he wanted to do Monster Cups. Like, perfect, let's do Monster Cup together.
Yeah.
Still, last year at this point, we were still working on sponsors also. It's not any different. It's just that, I guess, Reed went and raced, so it made it a bigger deal. And he raced a different brand, which
Oh yeah, well that's what I was saying.
That's what's, I guess, what's making it more than usual of a story.
Yes, when a rider that people think rides for you shows up not riding for you, suddenly you have like this 4-month span to iron it out. But these off-season races, people have to come out of hiding.
Yeah,
and then people see where you are at that moment, which was not supporting the guy who was on your team last time they saw it.
Yeah. And there's reasons all these things happen from all sides, but it's not like we kicked him out and he left mad. Like, it just was the best thing for him.
Yeah.
So, I think for him to go do that, to do his Europe races, which are the ones that actually pay the bills these days.
Yep.
So I have no hard feelings. It's all good.
All right. What else we got in this building, by the way?
Dean walked in there for something. What are you doing, Dean?
Dean, more employees are still working. We're just verifying.
I don't know if this video is funny.
Dean Baker, the horsepower maker. Yeah, maybe not to you.
This video is not funny.
Maybe not to you. I'm serious. People probably think that there's an open sign on the door. That's the exact opposite, I think, of what fans think right now.
Well, if I knew you were coming, I would have closed. Just
to freak us out.
That would have been even funnier.
Just to freak us out. I might have never pulled the trigger. All right, well, they're working.
Let's go look upstairs.
We're gonna get a little tour?
Yeah.
All right, why not?
Show you what we got.
Okay, all right. Well, you got infrastructure. You definitely have infrastructure.
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're just finalizing the details.
All right, well, we're gonna get a little shop tour. There's some swag. Can people actually buy that?
Yeah, that's online.
Okay. That's what a lot of people don't realize. If you live in this area, Charlotte, these NASCAR shops are actually set up to encourage fans to come in, and they even have full functioning stores and cash registers for you to buy stuff. There's Spencer. Oh, there's the Bud Man.
Yeah, you finally made it.
I know. This is where I'm gonna sort of gonna mind my.
Ready to roll?
This is a lot of work. Oh, you want to see something? Mitchell Key. All right, you guys really are doing work. There really is work going down.
Why do people think there's no work? I guess it's internet stuff.
Because no one has seen any proof of riders ride. Yeah, it's those guys. Those media guys are out there ruining you.
Well, the biggest, really, until there's news, there is no news. So we've been waiting till we have real news. We don't have news.
Until you have Instagram bangers of dudes doing laps at your track, no one knows for sure.
And I've been a little quiet. I don't have a whole lot to say. So that's where we're at.
Okay, that's where they're at. JGR has irons in the fire, as J-Bone said, for sponsors. I'll believe it when I see it. Teams always have irons in the fire with sponsors, and it seems to work out about as often as rookies winning the 450 Supercross title. I know that they have a contract with Suzuki, and maybe they'll be able to squeeze more help out of Suzuki, but if I were a betting man, I would bet on JGR showing up at the races this year in an extremely diminished, lean, mean machine capacity. They'll still probably have a semi and bikes and stuff, so it'll still look good. But who knows? It could be just a Savachi 450, Amart 250 team, which is a lot less riders than they had. One completely forgotten part of the JGR thing. This is unfortunate. The results weren't good last year, and Suzuki's in a tough spot. People bag on the Suzuki because it doesn't have electric start, which is hilarious to me because up until 5 years ago, the entire history of motocross, electric start wasn't even considered something you have to have. It's nice and convenient if you're a racer at the track. But honestly, as far as what really matters, like results and lap times and going fast, dude, it makes virtually no difference at all. Some riders would say it's actually worse. Now, the problem is, I guess, that the Suzuki doesn't have electric start and is the heaviest bike. But I don't think it's as uncompetitive as it seems. It's still fine. And by the way, to give you an idea of what Suzuki goes up against, years ago, people were bagging on the bike for not changing, and this is the same bike that, by the way, James Stewart walked away from a huge money deal with JGR Yamaha to ride for free. And Ken Roczen left none other than the Red Bull KTM team, the team that is turning everything to gold. He left that team to ride a Suzuki. So that's how good the Suzuki was for a while, and yet people were still bagging on Suzuki for their bike being old. So some of it is rep, and some of it is probably deserved. But I feel like a lot of it is just the way it looks. Here's how JGR got kind of hosed a little bit this year. The results were not that good. The Justin Hill season was terrible. No other way to put it. But what's forgotten about is Hill wasn't supposed to be their main guy. I don't mean number one guy, but I mean Weston Pike was like the linchpin of the organization. He had been there a while. He was a solid dude. You were probably going to count on a solid season from Pike. Hill could give you great moments. Maybe Hill could have even won a race last year if it had all worked out. He had the talent. He had the speed. It didn't work out. But you were going to contrast Hill, the fire and ice with Pike just nailing down great results every single week. Had Pike been there, I think the way at least a team looks from a results standpoint would have looked a lot different, and Suzuki would have looked a lot different too. I don't know if that would have resulted in more Suzuki money or sponsorship, but you cannot forget when a team has 2 riders and one is gone for the entire year, and that's what happened. Pike had a huge crash at the Paris Supercross, and we don't know. Pike might be done as a racer. That's going to affect the results. It is. That would be Hill was a rookie. If Tomac goes down for the season for Cowie, it's not going to be as good a season for Cowie if they don't have him the whole year. I know Pike's not Tomac, but at the level, compare him to Hill, he was probably the stronger guy coming into the year. They lost him. So, whatever, man. That's just racing. But I just do feel that one gets forgotten a lot. Anyway, they got Yoshimura pipes on those Suzukis. I saw them. And maybe they'll be out on the track next year. We need these teams. One other thing. You've got to remember that there are 6 brands trying to compete at the top level of this sport right now. That is rare. 6 brands, I don't think there's ever been market share to truly support that. With Husqvarna back and KTM ramping up their program, it used to be a big 4 and maybe KTM. That's what we had forever. We have 5 really strong teams and brands right now. Suzuki making 6. We haven't ever seen that model work. I don't know if the pie is big enough. I think that's really the bigger issue. KTM and Husky have done huge things the last couple of years. That market share, bike sales, budget, all that has to come from somebody. I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of that came at Suzuki's expense. But we want to have more riders, have more good rides. So hopefully Suzuki and JGR figure out a way to get out there. It's all brought to you by Yoshimura. That's our title sponsor, Yoshimura-RD.com. Go there to get exhaust systems for not just Suzukis, for any kind of motocross bike or even street bike that you ride. That's our show. We'll be back next week.